My special guest today is a singer, musician, and Emmy winner who also plays an amazing Paul McCartney in the Fab Four Ultimate Tribute Show. It's my pleasure to welcome to the show Mr. Ardy Sarraf. How you doing, my friend?
How are you, brother Joe? What's happening,
Good
man?
to see you. How's life in California?
It's nice, beautiful today. Nice and sunny out. It's a little chilly, about 64, something like that out there. It's nice.
You were born and raised in California, right?
Yep. LA baby. I'm a
LA,
LA
bro.
baby.
What age did you first get into music?
I think when I was around maybe 8 or 9, I think my mom was a gospel singer in her church choir with a lot of friends of hers from high school. And so they used to go around in a quartet, and I would go to church with her too. And my brother and I, along with my sister, were in the kids choir. So I think that's kind of what started things,
Yeah.
around that age.
Were you always a Beatles fan?
Not at first, no.
No.
My Beatles were the Kiss. Kiss was my first Beatles.
Okay.
So I was all into Kiss when those first, crazy few albums came out in the 70s. And it was only later when John Lennon was killed. I didn't really know who the Beatles were. I had heard a couple albums before. My mom had a couple albums, but I didn't realize who John Lennon was, and I didn't know why everyone was so upset that he was dead. And I had no idea. So from then on, I kind of got into it. My older sister, had made like a memorial album, all these clippings from newspapers and magazines. And I started looking at them all, and then I got the Red album, and I started reading the lyrics and listening to "I Want to Hold Your Hand," and then I knew why they missed him. Just from the music, I could tell there was something. Even at an early age, I could tell there was something special about that music.
Well, I'll never forget that week myself. I was 12 years old, and funny enough, in school, I was a big Beatles fan. And a lot of the kids in my school at the time were either Genesis fans or Pink Floyd fans. And we all used to wear badges on our blazers. I had John Lennon badges.
Wow.
And I used to, take the mickey if you like, I'm into Genesis. And I used to say, yeah, but how many Genesis songs do you know, even at that age? Because all these kids were doing it it was a fad.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing against Genesis and Pink Floyd, great bands, but I always remember lining up in school, freezing cold, December 9th, going into the assembly hall. And this quiet kid called Paul Dooley tapped me on the shoulder. He said, John Lennon got killed last night. I'm like, oh, shut up. And then when the headmaster said we're going to say a prayer and we got in, my world just fell apart, So I'll never forget that day. It was...
It's just, the anniversary was, last week, but
Yeah.
it's just so tragic the way what a tragic way to end up,
Yeah. Well, when did you start to do your early gigs, your first gigs as a musician?
As a musician, high school time, I used to, some buddies of mine, we all had similar tastes, Cream and Zeppelin, Queen, Beatles, Kiss, all that stuff, even stuff like Crosby, Stills and Nash, the Eagles. I started hanging around with musical friends.
Yeah.
We formed like a little band, and we played different high school parties. So we went to high school on the weekends, high school part with big kegs of beer, and that's how we got paid, right, with the kegs of beer. And just doing classic rock stuff, Foreigner, Beatles, Queen, Kiss, Zeppelin. We did everything. So those were my first. That was like 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
And then a couple more years after that, I was playing at a Beatle convention in LA called Beatle Fest. And that's where I met Rollo, the drummer in the Fab Four, and Ron. We kind of met through mutual friends. We had a battle of the bands. I was playing with my friends from high school. I was playing right-handed at the time. I borrowed a Rickenbacker bass. We didn't try to dress up like them. We didn't try to talk like them or look like them. I just went up there, played, and we won. We went over some of the Beatle bands that dressed up and everything. And at that time, I didn't like the Beatle bands. I did no respect for trying to be Paul and trying to talk like Paul all the time and all that stuff. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. So we were always giving them a lot of crap, like the Beatle bands.
Yeah.
And it turned out, years later, we decided to actually put a band together, a Beatle band. And I said, well, if we're going to do that, I'm going to teach myself how to play left-handed. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it.
You're going to do it right, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I got to do it left. So that's kind of what started, and then we wound up doing stuff in Las Vegas in 2000. We had a residency at the Las Vegas Hilton, where Elvis used to play. Back then, when Elvis played, it was called the International Hotel. But we were on Elvis's stage. We were on that old stage of Elvis Presley's.
Oh.
And a few years after that, when your mate and my mate Gavin came into the picture. We met Gavin Pring at the Beatle Week in Liverpool in 2004, and we brought him out here in 2005, and he was kind of our George Harrison at our Vegas show. And we started bringing Gavin on the road with us, with the other guys, with the original cast, mixing him here and there and getting him experience, knowing how to play, trying to teach him how to play and how to, do his makeup and all that stuff. All the stuff that we do, as a Fab Four.
Well, as you know, your bandmate Gavin, he's been on the show, plays a great George Harrison. The Fab Four itself, I've been lucky enough to be in the audience, and I said this when Gavin was on the show as well. It's a fabulous show, not just the way you guys play, the costumes, the whole thing, but the way the whole show is put together, like the Ed Sullivan part, that's fantastic. Yeah. And the guy does Ed Sullivan, and, God rest Jerry Ho, when I met Jerry, who was your...
Did you meet Jerry? That's right, you met Jerry.
I met Jerry, yeah. God bless him.
We had a couple of pints with you at the old Waxies, right?
Yeah, that's right. You got up and played. Gavin played. Gavin played a couple of weeks ago when you were in town as well. But, I met Jerry. He was the Ed Sullivan in Pulp Fiction.
That's right.
So I wanted to mention Jerry, but mention your show. The Ed Sullivan character is fantastic, and really, the way you guys do it, I mean... The Beatles, it's very eerie, actually. It's quite frightening at times, watching you guys. Gavin's from Liverpool. You're from California, but when you do that Paul McCartney, the accent is unbelievable. I mean, it's him. And I'm from Liverpool. You must have studied so hard.
Well...
As you say, if you're going to do it right, but you must have really...
Well, thanks, Joe. It's funny. I mean, when I first started doing it, I honestly, to be completely honest with you, I think only the last 5 years I've been really trying to put it on more, put the accent on, because I watched video myself and I was cringing. It said nothing like Paul. So I've been trying to throw in more of that stuff because there's, with doing the Fab Four thing, there's so much artistic license. We throw out a T-shirt. The Beatles didn't throw out T-shirts to the fans. So there's so much stuff that we do to make it entertainment that the Beatles didn't do. And so there's already, we're already kind of breaking down the wall, right? So, but in terms of the personas, I've been very outspoken lately with the guys saying, hey guys, especially now the Get Back documentary is so big. It's like people are starting, even non-Beatle people are looking at it and they're able to kind of dissect each individual Beatle character somewhat, Yeah. Like Hard Day's Night. It's a caricature, but that's kind of how they were. And for me, the last few years, I've been really trying to get the more of the accent, more of the isms, the Paul isms, as much as I can.
Well, actually, can you wish everybody a happy Christmas in your McCartney accent?
I'd like to Merry Crimble to everyone, and especially those listening to Joe right now. It's always good. It's always good to do that, I've been through stuff. It's funny because little phrases and little isms like lads and blokes, just all the different words that English and Liverpudlians and Scousers use. Get off of that. Oh, it's dead grotty. Dead grotty is obviously something they didn't really say, but it was something in Hard Day's Night. So people kind of it's a bloody mess, or it's that was bloody awful, or whatever it is. Something like that. It's just throwing in certain words that sound more English.
Yeah. Did you ever meet any of the Beatles?
I met Paul. Actually.
You met Paul? Really?
Yeah. Gavin's story when he met Paul, right?
Gavin told me about, he said you look a bit like George, and Gavin said you look a bit like Paul.
Yeah. So he has a better story. Gavin's meeting with Paul was much better than mine. Mine, basically, it was basically he was doing a book signing in L.A., and I got in line with some friends who allowed me to be in line with him. And he just got to shake his hand and, hey, Paul, we love you. I mean, what does a million other people say to him, right? I love you. Thanks for everything. You heard it a million times.
Yeah.
But I had a Wings band shirt on. We did the Wings show every once in a while,
Yep.
a tribute show. And I had my shirt on underneath my jacket. And so what I did was I got back. I said, hey, Paul, what do you think of that? And I opened up my jacket to reveal the shirt. It said Wings band. And he looked forward. He leaned forward a little bit on the table. And he goes, Wings band, on the run, right? On the run. And I said, yeah, on the run, Paul. So Wings band on the run. That's what he kind of thought. So that was it. That's all. That's the only thing I was able to really say to him. It was nice to meet him though.
Spoke to me once.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just turned 16.
Wow.
He came to Liverpool for the premiere of Give My Regards to Broad Street, 1984, to get his freedom.
Wow.
He came to get his Freedom of the City award, and it was packed. It was freezing cold. Me and my friend Gary Williams from school were hanging out outside the library where he got his award. Anyway, that night I said, let's go, and because he's going to go to the Odeon Cinema. I said, his hotel's got to be close. Let's not hang around outside the movie theatre. Let's go the nearest hotel. And the Crest Hotel's behind. So he goes behind, and there's the Mercedes with PMC1. I said, I told you, there's hardly nobody there. I told you. So me and Gary are leaning on the door, and we had a band called Broad Street. And he said, tell him about the band. I will do, yeah. You're going to tell him everything, of course. So he comes out the door with Linda, God bless her. And he got in the car this side. There was a kid next to me, a little bit older, but he had pen and paper. And he handed it over. So Paul took it and gets inside, signs, the autograph. Window goes down, gives the guy the autograph. Guy shakes his hand. Thanks, Paul, no problem. So I'm standing there, and he looks at me and goes, can you move back? The car's going to go now. And the car just vanished. But I got a picture, because my girlfriend at the time was at the front with the camera. I've still got the Polaroid picture of him getting in the car. But yeah, cool. Well, you didn't tell him about the band. I just froze. I just turned 16, So apart from the Fab Four show you do, you just said, the Wings tribute. Tell us a little bit about that, like the Wings show you do.
Well, yeah, it used to be called Wings Band, and we did it every once in a while. We only did a handful of shows, maybe 10 shows over like 5 years, because it was so hard to squeeze in shows and rehearse with a whole nother band in a 4-piece horn section in between Fab Four shows.
Yeah.
So we never really got it going. There's some cool video on YouTube. There's quite a few clips on YouTube if anyone wants to check it out. Wings Band, Live and Let Die or whatever, silly love songs. And it was great. We basically had like the setup of the Wings Over the World. 4-piece horn section. I had a girl doing Linda, 2 guitar players. We'd switch around. I'd play bass, guitar, and piano. And it was cool, man. It was a lot of fun. So eventually we'll get back at doing that again. Hopefully when this COVID thing's gone down even more, which obviously has messed up a lot of things for us musicians over the last year and a half. But at some point it'll come back again. We'll have time to do that. Yeah, because I only have a few more years doing, a young Paul in the Fab Four. I can only pull that off for a little bit longer, not too much longer. Got to know when to hang up the boots.
But you do. It's like Wings Over America, isn't it? Because I've seen some of them videos of you doing that stuff, and you've got like when you did with the big Rickenbacker bass.
Have the Rickenbacker bass and the whole bit.
How hard was it to go left-handed when you first went left-handed to play?
It was bloody hard, Joe. It was bloody hard. No, yeah, it was. It took about 6 months to really get under my hands. Really, I mean, here's my pick. Right, I use a basic big pick. I don't use the smaller guitar picks. It's an oversized. So every show we would do, when I'd be driving to the gigs, I'd be listening to the Beatles. Love Me Do, She Loves You, all the ones that go boom, 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 boom. Just the easy basic stuff. So I'd be plucking the steering wheel. Yeah. And practicing, just doing this. This was hard. Because when I first started playing, I would pluck, and obviously the E strings up here, I would miss all the A, D, and G strings. I would be plucking out, very awkward. So I had to completely teach myself, relearn everything, This hand wasn't so bad. It was this hand, the plucking hand, which was hard. Yeah. So for the most part now, it's pretty second nature. I could play I'd say about 85 to 90% of what I can play right-handed.
Wow.
You know, it's just speed and a lot of the different things. Obviously, I'll never be as good as I am naturally right-handed. I don't have that much time on my hands to really get that left-handed stuff under my belt. I could play like two songs left-handed on guitar, which is a whole different game. You know, like yesterday I have to play in the show, and that's detuned, and I've got to play that left-handed. Blackbird, I can play left-handed. But that's about it left-handed guitar-wise. I can't really do a lot of chords left-handed. It's tricky, and I don't have that much time to to relearn all that stuff, you know.
Let's talk about the new Beatles documentary on Disney Plus, Get Back.
Let's do it.
I've just finished watching it a few days ago, finished part 3.
I want to watch it again. I want to watch all 3 again. But it's amazing. Amazing.
I mean, you could tell they were struggling at first in Twickenham. They were struggling. And when Billy Preston came in, the band just came alive, didn't they?
They gelled. He was absolutely what they needed. Had he not been there, I'm not sure if it would have happened. I'm not sure if it would have continued because, you know, in the first episode, you know, spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen it, you know, when George walks out, they were miserable. They were cold in Twickenham. George takes off. It's like they're all talking about breaking up. You know, Ringo had already left. You know, Yoko's there. Linda's there. Yeah. George Martin was kind of in the corner, you know, not doing much. I mean, for all intents and purposes, they were pretty much done. They were talking about it, like, hey, it's the last one probably anyway. Let's just do it. And, you know, if we're gonna go our separate ways, and you got George saying, I don't even want to do any of my songs. You know, if you guys don't want to do it, I don't care. I don't care. You know, all that stuff. So yeah, I think Billy Preston, man. And then once he started playing those licks, my God.
On that Fender Rhodes, that was it.
Yeah, oh yeah. His smile, and he just brought a different vibe to the whole thing.
What I found fascinating was a lot of the stuff they were just introducing, like Road to Marry Kiss, was Jealous Guy. Completely different lyrics. So a lot of the stuff they were doing were on the future solo albums, All Things Must Pass. Yeah. McCartney doing his Teddy Boy from McCartney 1.
Yeah. I think he had Every Night in there too somewhere. He had another song he was doing for the McCartney album. I think it was
I know he done Another Day. He was practicing that.
Oh, was Another Day? Yeah, it might
have been Another Day. I think he was on the piano though,
Yeah, so I mean, it was very, very, very cool for us Beatle fans. I mean, who would have thought that the dreary Let It Be movie could have been so much better? Yeah. All the footage, just the footage that we shot, what do they say, 56 hours of footage?
Yeah.
And there's only 9 hours of it for this thing. There's still, 30 some odd hours that we haven't seen. And just to think that the Let It Be film that Michael Lindsay Hogg did, it was so down. Down. It's such a bummer. It could have been so much better. And I don't know why he made it like that with all the footage that we've seen now. It makes you wonder what his angle was. Was he trying to make it like that and make it such a terrible end to their career? I mean, I don't know. But I'm glad that it came out like this with Peter Jackson. He did a great job.
He did, yeah. There's some funny things in it. I don't know if you know the story of Bob Wooler, the Cavern DJ.
A little bit.
Well, John Lennon, I met Bob when he was alive, God bless him, many times, and Alan Williams back home when I lived back home. And there's a part in the documentary, but John Lennon's 21st birthday party, he got hammered drunk and beat up Bob Wooler.
Oh, yeah, John Lennon, yeah.
So in the documentary, he's drinking wine as they're rehearsing. I think it's in part 3, and Lennon says, "Oh, I've had a few wines. Remember Bob Wooler?"
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
Catch that.
Yeah,
I
think he says that as the rehearsal.
That's in part 3.
I think it's part 3. Yeah. Check that out. But it's fantastic, isn't it? The whole documentary is just. But I think you're right in saying you've got to go and watch it again. I think I'm going to watch it again.
Oh yeah, it's going to be something because of what we do. We're never going to be the Beatles. Obviously, what we try to do is emulate them on stage, and things like this much footage of them talking, all the different outfits they have, all their guitars. It's like a wet dream for us, right? Yeah. So there's so much new material for Beatle bands right now, and to learn to pick up on dialect and interactions, and just there's so much new information, which is great. And we're all going to just soak it up. Every show, to me, and for most of us, every show should be a learning experience, even for us.
Right.
Whether it goes completely right and there's no problems, whether it's trying a different way to say something in the accent. For me, it's like, always try to think of something new that can be added to the show,
Yeah.
to make it better somehow.
Is there anything from that you're going to add to the Fab Four show, you think? Anything you've seen and get back?
This bass right here. Does this look familiar to you?
The Hofner. Yeah.
This is the one, well, apparently, this is called the Lost Bass. Hofner did a limited edition of these, and I got one of them. And during the Get Back documentary, it's only there at Twickenham for a few days, and Paul got it nicked. I don't know if you know that, but
no.
that was his original Hofner, the very first one, the one he played in the Cavern all those years. And the first Please Please Me album with the Beatles album was recorded with his original Cavern bass. So during the filming of Let It Be, it got nicked along with like 2 or 3 other Beatle guitars.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they call it the Lost Bass. So this is how it looked. If you look in the documentary, it looked like this.
Right.
It's the one with the black surrounds around the pickguard like this.
Okay.
Without the pickguard, it had the sponge and all that kind of stuff. But it got nicked. This bass got stolen from Paul, and he never got it back up to this day. 60, almost 50 some odd years later, he's never gotten it back.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like in the documentary where they ask him to play his Rickenbacker, and he goes, I like this one, it's lighter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When he's playing his Hofner.
I agree with that, man. The Rickenbackers are so much heavier. Just so, on the, for me, it's going on
solid wood, isn't it? Right.
20 years.
Yeah.
20 years playing these damn guitars that are so heavy. And I know why Paul said, hey, the Hofner is nice and light. You could barely feel it, so. But it was cool to see some pictures of that stuff too, because there's one or 2 days go in between Paul when it was painted. His Rickenbacker was painted that psychedelic magical mystery tour paint. Yeah. And then the next day it's gone. He sanded it down himself. So it's kind of cool to see when that happened. Really cool.
Yeah, that's his trademark, isn't it? The Hofner bass, and later he went to the Hofner. But he also played the Yamaha in 1979. Yep. He was just before Wings.
Do you know that's for auctioning off right now?
That Yamaha bass?
Paul is auctioning his bass, that Yamaha bass is on. I think right now it's up to about $60,000. It's going for charity. At first, I didn't believe it was his bass, but he's auctioning off his Yamaha. Crazy. One of his main guitar. He used that on the last Wings tour. He used it on all sorts of videos. For all that Wing stuff in early 1980, and Tug of War album. He used it in a couple of the videos for Tug of War in 1981. But yeah, that bass is up for auction right now for charity.
There's a friend of mine, great guitar player. He's been on the show as well, Benny Lander in New York. He's in New York, Benny. Benny plays with Steve Holley. He's a close friend of Steve Holley's, Wings' last drummer.
Yeah.
And he still plays with Steve, in New York, and they record the stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll be out there in March.
In New York?
In New York, yeah.
Yeah. What's your schedule at the moment? Because I was talking to Gavin when you were in town a few weeks ago. Because you've only been back on the road a couple of months, right, since the pandemic?
We got busy again in August. That's when things kind of started normalizing a little bit. We had sporadic shows from like June, 2 shows a month. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. We were kind of just staying afloat, Yeah. We were doing live stream shows at our studio, different live stream shows. And then once August hit, it's almost like the pandemic hasn't happened. Right now, the last 3-4 months have been it's been great because we've been very busy. In fact, right now, Gavin and the other guys are in Colorado, in Denver. Last night, they did a show in Colorado Springs. Tonight, they're in Denver. Tomorrow, they're going to be in Wyoming. And I took the weekend off because I just needed a break. We just got off the road from a 2.5-week tour down southeast, into Texas, Dallas, Houston, Austin. Then we went from there to Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Virginia, just back forth. And we're just dead tired, you know. So beginning of the year 2022, it's picking up again. We're going to be pretty busy. We got shows in Las Vegas coming up. We're going to be in Milwaukee for the first week of January for a week. Another show, Pachanga, down here, casino show that we do. That's where we filmed our PBS special for people that know or don't know. But it's so far, Joe, it's looking pretty good. Our agency, we're very lucky to have APA as our agency. They've been trying to keep us as busy as possible. So yeah, it's good. It's keeping the guys going.
When you say the boys are now in Denver, do you mean they're doing the Fab Four show without you, with no Mccartney?
Yeah.
So there's just not a Mccartney in the show at the moment.
No. There is. We have different subs. Each of us have at least one or two guys to sub for us.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, right. So you just someone else doing Mccartney right now.
Yeah. So when you saw us 2 years ago, wasn't that Adam? Not Ron, right? You saw Adam, didn't you?
It was. Is that the guy from Newcastle?
Yep.
Yeah, that was Adam.
The one that looks a lot like John.
Yeah.
So Adam, in 2019, he was our main John guy. Yeah. Because Ron was trying to retire, like I'm trying to retire. You know. So we had Adam, and then what happened? Bloody COVID hit, right? So COVID hit, and that screwed everything up. Adam had to go back home, even though Adam has dual citizenship. His mother is American, so he's got dual visas, or I'm not sure exactly how that works, but he's
probably got two passports, like my daughter.
Yeah. So Adam had to go back home. Adam had done a few shows with us last month in November. I did some shows with him, and we're going to try to keep him going in next year as well, as much as we can. Yeah. Because to me, he's the best John in the world, really, doing it. He's a great guy. He's a really great guy. It's just the situation of being over there now. He's back home in Newcastle, you know, or in Hull, actually, to be specific.
Okay.
So, but all of us have subs. Gavin we have 2 or 3 George guys, a couple McCartney guys, a couple Ringo. So all of us are able to take time off, or if something happens medically, like we can't do a show, you know, we have to have somebody to cover. So that's always a good thing. Have our subs ready to go.
Big company, really, isn't it? It's not just let's put a band together. It's a
well-run company. It's a real company for the most part, and we run it that way. And all the guys that we employ, when we employ guys, we make sure we teach them. We take them to Fab Four school. You know, they might be Beatle fans, but we have to show them the ropes. You know, to play it. Not to sound big-headed about it, but to be at our level, you know, you got to kind of listen to the advice we're giving you, or else you won't be playing with us, you know. Yeah. Because as you know, there's so many, probably close to 100 Beatle bands in the States alone. Yeah. You know, then over in the UK, you got bootleg Beatles, which are great. And this, you know, we have Rain that are great in the States. 1964. And they're like the top of the top, you know, along with us. Everybody else underneath is like, you know, they do what they do, and I have all respect for them. But there's certain levels that we want to be at, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the Beatle Week. I used to play Beatle Week all the time when I lived in Liverpool.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
I played in festivals all the time, for years, since I was 19. And you'd have we used to laugh because you'd have the Russian Beatles, the Argentine Beatles, the Japanese Beatles. They all come over from everywhere.
Oh, the Parrots were great. Remember the Parrots?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
That guy, the John guy, he was amazing. And I guess he passed away a few years ago.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you know that, but yeah, he passed away. How did you meet Gavin?
Crazy small world. I met Gavin at Waxy O'Connor's. I was playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, probably about 7-8 years ago now. Maybe longer.
Was I with him that first night?
No.
Jerry?
I'd say it was. It was him and Jerry and Rollo. I think it was Rollo who played.
Oh, yeah.
Played Ringo, yeah. He just walked in and I'm playing. And the owner of Waxy's comes over. He said, when you take a break, you got to meet these guys. So I said, oh, yeah, okay. So goes to the back. I'm Gavin. Liverpool, yeah. Gets talking, meets the other guys. We sit down, has a pint. So he said, I played George Harrison, the Fab Four. He said, well, I'm originally from Bootle in Liverpool. I used to play Bootle all the time, right through the 80s and 90s, played all over that circuit, you know. So what's your last name? He said, Pring. So you're related to Steve Pring. It's my uncle. So we were in a duo together for 5.5 years.
Wow.
And it turns out, you know, he didn't see his dad, and his dad's passed away now, but
Yeah.
I knew his dad very, very well, Steve's brother,
Wow.
and it was unbelievable. I'm like, talk about the small world, yeah.
Wow.
So that's how I met Gavin that night in Waxy's, and then every time he's coming to town, you know, he comes down. You've been down there as well, yourself. But thanks for the shout-out, by the way, when you did the Tobin the other week, because I'd take
By
some
the
break.
way, I would have gone with him that night, but I was so tired.
Yeah,
I was so tired. Yeah, we had just gotten back, and then that was starting our run.
Yeah.
You know, we were starting to get busy, and I just was not feeling. Oh, I had just gotten my booster shot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that was part of it too. But I would have loved to come down and hang out. I think we had an early flight or something the next day. That might have been another reason.
Well, all these Beatle fans come in with all the Beatle t-shirts. Are you Joe? Are you Joe? I'm like, yeah, we've just been in the show and the band said come here. I'm like,
good.
Oh, cool. So a lot of people come in, and Gavin followed down. He got up and we played together. He played solo, and it was fantastic night, as it always is, you know, when you guys are in town. It really is. Yeah.
That's great. It's so funny that you guys met in San Antonio.
Crazy, right?
Of all places, right?
Yeah. And the family connection.
Wow.
You
That
know,
is crazy.
because we played everywhere, his uncle and me. You know, we had a duo called the Snag Is. We used
Snaggers?
Yeah, the Snag Is. Don't you say, like, the Snag Is, I can't make it. The Snag Is,
okay.
yeah. That's what we were called, yeah. And we played everywhere, 5.5 years.
Wow. How old's your daughter?
She's 11.
11.
Yeah, she went to the show. She's been to the show every time he's come into town. She loves it.
What's her name again?
Ava. Yeah.
Ava.
So, best platform, would you say, for people to find out more about the Fab Four and yourself doing the wing stuff and that?
I'd say that keep in touch on the fab4.com, thefab4.com,
Right.
FABFOUR.com, or Instagram, Fab4Band. I'm at FabArd21, FABARD21 on Instagram. To keep the schedule, you know, you can see when we're going to come around town, any new projects that we have. You know, we have our Christmas album called Hark. It was just perfect time right now. You still got time to get it.
Okay.
And I'm surprised Gavin hasn't given you that.
You tell me about that. Yeah, I had no idea you had the Christmas album. We could have played it on the show today if I'd have known that. You know,
I've got to send you one. I've got to get it in the mail to you by tomorrow.
Okay. I'd love to hear that, yeah. My daughter will love that. Ava will love that.
And it's, you know, it's Beatles songs done Christmas style. So
I was just going to ask you, what is it? What is the album? It's Beatles songs Christmas style.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's just like, I wish I could give credit for myself for the arrangements, but Ron is the one that arranged the whole thing for the most part.
Yeah.
So basically, I'll give you a little. So basically, you hear something like this, right? You start, and you think it's gonna be I start standing there, right? Well, she was just 17, but what Ron did, he came up with this. It goes, Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose. So it's Rudolph.
Oh, wow.
17. It sounds amazing.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I'm just shocked Gavin hasn't given you that. I'm really pissed, actually.
Can people get that online?
They can get it online at thefab4.com.
Yeah.
Order it on our store there. You can probably download it. I think iTunes, you can download it even.
Okay.
But I got to send you one. I have to send you a copy of it.
Absolutely, yeah, because I'd love to hear that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One for Ava, too.
Oh, she'd love it. If you could sign it, she'd love that.
Sure, man.
Yeah. It's funny, you know.
Everything's good, and I'm hoping that next year is great for all my musician friends and everybody in general, not just us musicians, but
yeah.
I mean, because us musicians have had it hard. You, us, everybody, all my friends. It's been, you know, we were the first ones to stop playing because of the lockdown.
That's right.
And we were the last ones to go back to work. You know, so a lot of bands haven't made it through. You know, and a lot of venues. Some venues we used to play haven't made it through either.
That's right.
So it's been tough. I just hope next year is a lot better. You know?
Yeah, I've got a lot of friends in the theatre, and they really struggled because.
Oh yeah, and then, you know, right now they're talking about shutting down Broadway again because of the new strain, the Omicron stuff. It's just like, golly, they're going on 2 years with this thing,
Well, the theatres were the last to open because the bars started opening. And I know it's been different in every state. Texas is pretty wide open now.
Yeah.
Because we were 25%, around 50%, been 100% since March.
Cross our fingers. Let's just hope it stays.
Oh, I wouldn't have got through without live streams, people tuning into my live streams. God bless the people who helped us out there, because that was a tough one. I did 29 weeks.
Yeah, Gavin did Gavin did a lot too. I did a few here and there too, and it was nice. It was fun to make a little extra pub, keep us going for sure.
Ardy, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for your time.
You too, brother. Hey, tell him, give Eve a big kiss.
I will do.
From her uncles in the Fab Four, and you keep us posted on what's going on, and next year with you, and we hope to see you. Hopefully, we'll see you before we get back to San Antonio. You never know.
Yeah. Maybe I'll come out to I've never been to LA.
Well, when you do, you better let us know, man.
Yeah. I wish you and your family a wonderful Christmas. Happy New Year. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, brother. Thanks for your time.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
All right, cheers, bro.